Hey dude! So maybe you're just starting your fragrance collection and you got $250 burning a hole in your stinky little pockets. Or maybe you just received an extremely modest inheritance and you figured that your best use of your newfound mini fortune is to blow it on perfume and cologne. Well, thank the Lord, because this happens to be the best smelling channel on YouTube, J-ROYL, and thanks to CJ City TV, because I've been tagged in the $250 to spend on fragrances challenge. Challenge accepted. The rules are simple. How would I recommend you spend $250 on fragrances, assuming you were just starting out? There are so many ways to approach this. If you're looking to get as many bottles as you can, you could always just bop over to your local drugstore and raid the cheapie bin. Oftentimes, brand name colognes can sell there for as little as $14.99 Canadian silly dollars, which means you could potentially rack up 12 plus fragrances with a $250 budget. Although this sounds tempting, it would not be my recommendation. All of a sudden, having a shelf full of bottles seems like it would give you a nice variety of scents, or a rotation, as we call it in the community. While it isn't always the case, oftentimes, cheap fragrances, they smell cheap, or at least boring, or they can smell like everyone else because everyone else can afford them. In order to set yourself apart, you need to do a little more work and research. You may be thinking, okay, maybe I just need to spend more money so I'm no longer in that entry-level category. What if I ball out and throw a bill or two at Nordstrom's?
Also not ideal.
Because then maybe you're getting something similar to the drugstore stuff, but now you're paying full retail price for them. Say no to retail. You don't need to spend your $250,000, that's a lot of money, to keep the lights on at Saks Fifth Avenue or wherever you're going. Okay, weirdo, just tell me how to spend my money, damn it. My first recommendation to you newbies is to read up on the types of fragrances you instinctively feel you'd be into, and then invest in sample packs and decants. The easiest way to have the biggest and most diverse collection of fragrances is to grab as many free samples from Sephora as you can. For more higher end, hard to find fragrances, I often encourage going on Facebook and joining fragrance swap groups and grabbing some decants of different fragrances. That way, instead of blowing your budget on one nice fragrance, why not get 12 different 10 milliliter decants that you can rotate through? By doing that, you'll have a wide variety of fragrances while staying under your $250 budget, and there'll be fragrances that you've hand selected to suit your specific tastes. That's great advice, bro. Side note, if you're familiar with a cool decanting company or service that you use, let me know in the comment section below so we can spread the word. Share the wealth, guys. Water break. Now, I know some of you aren't into the idea of second-hand fragrances, and you prefer something that's brand new, sealed in plastic. I would then recommend you to websites on the gray market, and my personal favorite that I always use and talk about is fragrancebuy.ca. It gives you the same fragrances you'd find at the department stores at a much lower price, with the added convenience of online shopping. Now, I realize that I haven't actually mentioned a single fragrance yet. So for the people that just want to blow their budget on one single awesome fragrance, I'll give you one, okay? Just relax. This is something you can wear all year round. Even though it's delicate in its composition, it consistently lasted a long time on my skin every time I wear it. It's Amouage Imitation Man. Very personal to me. I bought it with my wee lass from Scotland, but I could see myself wearing that exclusively if I had to. There's something to be said about having a signature scent unique to you. If you think about quantity and grabbing as many different fragrances as you can spread yourself out too thin and not have an identity at all. So while it may seem unwise to just spend all your precious pennies on a single bottle, perhaps one awesome bottle is all you need. Unless, of course, you need many. So for the rest of you, finally, here are the 7 bottles I would recommend if you had $250 to spend, and I mean CAD. I could have picked a date fragrance, a school fragrance, a beach fragrance, yada, yada, yada. There are so many different fragrance categories you could use for this little challenge. But instead, I just popped onto Fragrance Buy and filled my cart with worthwhile fragrances until it burst. AKA until I hovered around $245 after taxes. Most of my choices are pretty versatile, while some are decadent high-value fragrances more suited for the cooler weather. A good portion were 50ml bottles, but there's even a few 100ml big boys included. The first one is 4711 Echt Kölnisch Wasser. Easy choice, being the cheapest one of them all. Smells of nice neroli and bergamot. It doesn't last long, but neither does its $250 counterpart, Neroli Portofino. It's worth a pickup for surezies. Now, continuing with the mega cheapy trend, you have the legendary cheapy Nautica Voyage. It doesn't matter if you think it has been reformulated to death, you're still getting great value here. 100 milliliters for 15 bucks. And I got my bottle 2 years ago. It still lasts like 7 hours on me. While a bit basic, bro, Mont Blanc Legend is a cost-effective, fun fragrance that still gets me compliments. It's fresh, but still sweet. This could be a year-rounder signature scent on a young man that perhaps hasn't smelled many colognes, because it's not that unique. One of my favorite fresh fragrances under $50 is Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Eau Intense. Not totally a cheapie, but worth the 42 bucks. The intensity is in the more focused aquatic quality. It's so fresh and so fun to wear, and it's also another strong performing fresh fragrance. But if you're over me talking about freshies, then hold up. I got a strong sweet fragrance I'd like to recommend for you guys. It's 24 Gold by Scent Story. Currently priced at 32 bucks for 50 ml. It used to be cheaper and then it got hyped, so it skyrocketed in price. But now that the hype has finally died back down, pick this one up because its slightly oody vanilla amber feel is fantastic in the cold. I love it. But sometimes I don't feel like sweet shit, okay? I need something that's a little more manly, and manly fragrances tend to have vetiver. Ancre Noir à l'Extrême is a fantastic vetiver fragrance that's very cheap, but it has a lovely semi-sweet smokiness to it too. It's dark and woody and mixed together wonderfully. The only thing that I'll say about it is the performance has sometimes been a little bit lackluster, but it doesn't bother me because I only wear it indoors anyway. And finally, what fragrance starter collection would be complete without something that smells like Creed Aventus? My pick for the pineapple fragrance to add to your collection first is L'Aventure by Al Haramain. Not Club de Nuit Intense Man, even though I'm a fan of both. L'Aventure is just a bit closer to Aventus, and now that it's dropped in price, it would be my first recommendation to anyone wanting something smoky and pineapple-y. You can wear it anytime, anywhere, and feel like a baller. 7 frags for under 250 bucks, taxes included. No tag would be complete without continuing the tag, so I want to go ahead and tag Dan from Scented Waters, and of course Chad from A Gentleman's Journey. I'm curious as to which ones y'all would pick, and if the viewers don't know much about them, they conveniently did a video together. Bam! There it is. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Out. Whatever.